Today's video, going to be replacing the fuel pump assembly on this 2000 4Runner, because no matter how much my buddy drives it, the fuel gauge stays at full. It never moves up with the miles traveled. So we're going to go ahead and replace the sender assembly, and that should fix the problem. So here's a new one. You got a B-nut on this side, probably just a normal hose clamp assembly on this side, and then your return on top, your electrical connector, and then your new pump with the new fluid level sender. So should be pretty straightforward. First thing we're going to do, we're going to pop the hood, get to the fuel pump relay fuse. We're going to pull it. We're going to start the car to relieve all the fuel pressure. So looking into the engine bay, you can see the EFI fuse is right here, the 20 amp. So we're going to pop this cover off. Look for that 20, which is right there, and we're going to pull it out. Now with that, we're going to start the car. Most of the times it starts, runs for a few seconds, then ends up dying out. Sometimes it doesn't start at all. Every car is different. Next, we're going to take off this negative cable, 13mm nut. Tuck it out of the way. Lift up the jack, or lift up the car from the axle. Put some jack stands on there. Okay, now you see this shield for the gas tank. It took a beating at one point. Maybe that's the reason why the float assembly doesn't work anymore. We'll see when we get to it. But we're going to go ahead and take off the shield. On the forward side, there's two 12mm, one right there and one right there. That middle one is not part of it. On the driver's side, there's one a quarter of the way back. There's one right here on the back side. On the passenger side, there's one up there tucked up right there. First one's going to be the driver rear bolt. Next one is this driver middle bolt. Now it's the passenger rear side. Alright, the last two are in the front. Next, we're going to take off this fill nozzle. There's a 10mm head clamp right here. Now we're going to go ahead and take off the three connections at the front of the tank. There's two hose clamps and then one B-nut right here at the bottom. Okay, so I can break the B-nut right here, but if you follow the line a little bit, it has the same connection on this side. So I'm going to take it off from here, and then when everything's off the truck, I'll be able to get a legit leverage on this B-nut. Okay, now it's all disconnected. So behind the driver's seat, you pull up the seat pull the carpet out of the way, and there's an access panel with 3 screws. You pull it out, and then you can get to your electrical connector right there. And also, there's a wiring harness that connects right there. I just was able to pull the wires out. Right, I mean, you can see it dangling right there. You just pull that off. One more hose to disconnect. And that's the top of the fuel pump assembly. Okay, what holds the gas tank up is the one bolt that was in the middle between the 2 guard. There's one bolt right there. And the strap in the back, you can either, I already took off the little security clip. You can either take that one off, you lift this up a little bit and pull that pin out, and or remove the bolt strap. Okay, so I have this transmission jack. You could probably get away with the normal jack with the big 2x4 or 2 2x4s across the length of the gas tank, but I got the transmission jack, so that's what I'm using. I remove the pin. Like I said, I removed that little security pin and then lifted up the gas tank just a little bit and slid this out. And I removed the 12mm bolt that holds the forward end of the gas tank. So now I'm going to go ahead and lower the whole gas tank assembly. Right here, if you're able to, you just squeeze on the back 2 clips and it comes out. I wasn't able to get it to with the access that I had, and so I just pulled the tape off on one side and then it just slid off the other side, which is this harness right here. This goes inside the cab. Looks kind of burnt right there, but yeah, I just took out the tape. It just fell through because it connects in here and it just falls through. So I took that off, and then the last part was giving me the trouble right now was, or the last one gave me trouble was this top one, and that goes into a hose that you will see. But now it's out. Now we're gonna take off all those screws that hold down this pump assembly using an 8mm. Okay, so I'm assuming you see what I see. Yeah, so that big old dent that I got smashed up this pump, which also now offsets this whole measuring assembly, or the fluid level assembly. This is supposed to be straight up. We might have to get a new tank because I don't think the just hammering down the shit in the middle is gonna really be the fix. You can see the little indentation right there. So I'm gonna have to call my buddy, see what he wants to do. Now that we beat the tank down from the middle, got the new one installed, I'll put these clips on once everything's aligned, just so these get routed the correct way and then they hold straight. So now we're gonna go ahead and roll this under the car, or slide it under the truck, and go ahead and install it. And all you had to do was just torque down all these screws by hand. Make sure the gasket's sealed up all the way around. But yep, let's go ahead and slide it under. Well, I apologize. I was so distracted because this transmission jack bleeds down. Point being, I was so worried about stretching the hoses and stuff like that on this, and I completely forgot to press record after the delay. So I had to take off the drive shaft to get that one vent hose on top, the last item that's on the way out that I took off. I got the forward bolt, the one individual where my finger, the one individual bolt in the front of the tank, the 12mm, put that on. And then I came back and I put the rear strap on, and now it's now those two are supporting the gas tank. I just installed the filler neck tube, and now it's just the last 3 lines in the front. I already plugged in the electrical connector. I'll show you that right now. Here's the electrical connector, and this is the vent tube, the one, the fat line right here. It's hard to see in there, but that's the first thing you got to install or attach when you're going back in before the gas tank is fully up in its slot, because then you're not going to be able to grab it. All 3 hoses are on. Now let's pressurize it, see what happens. So now we can go ahead and throw our 20 amp fuse back in. We're gonna install the battery, negative cable. That's a good sign. Now the fluid level doesn't just show full. Okay, looks good. No fluid leaks, no gasket leaks or anything like that. Truck's running perfectly fine. Fluid level sender now is working as it should. And that's how you replace a fuel pump assembly on these 4Runners. Hopefully this video helps y'all. Y'all have a good one.